I mean, you can't be the cheapest and the best. You have to choose which lane you're going to go down. And I don't want to straddle those lanes either. Right? Not everybody can afford the most expensive luxury car or vacation or whatever. But pretty much everyone can afford luxury chocolates.
Is there anything in particular you feel like you've had to unlearn from your mom?
Ooh, cover your ears.
How many approximately pieces of chocolate do you eat every single day?
I've already had 3 today. And what time is it?
Yeah, we still got more.
You're listening to the NEI Pioneer Podcast, where we showcase and share the authentic stories of Northeast Indiana. We are thrilled for our first full season of this podcast to be coming to a close this year. Thank you so much to our listeners, and be sure to stay tuned for Season 2 in 2025. Today, we have some very special guests on the podcast from DeBrand Fine Chocolates, Cathy and Audree. Cathy is the founder and president of the well-known DeBrand Fine Chocolates, and she is joined by her daughter Audree, who is the business operations manager. Although DeBrand Chocolates is a staple in our region, what a lot of people might not know is the family behind the business. Cathy was actually a category winner in our 2024 Pioneer Awards event, which is where we first got to know her story. We are excited to welcome her and her daughter onto the show and to have a longer conversation about who they are and what they do. Just a warning to our watchers and listeners that this episode might make you hungry for DeBrand Fine Chocolates, so don't say I didn't warn you. With that introduction, let's jump into the episode.
Hello and welcome back to the NEI Pioneer Podcast. I'm your host, Jonathan Sackett, and today I am joined by my producer extraordinaire,
Callie Herring.
Happy to have her. And of course, our guests today are old friends of ours, Cathy Brand-Beere from DeBrand's, president and founder, and her colleague, coworker, and daughter, Audree Beere. Welcome.
Hello, thank you.
It is so good to see you guys. And look at all the stuff you guys brought. I don't know if we're going to get these in the shots, but lots of chocolate here. And I got to tell you, Cathy, you were our champion for, I think you won Brand, didn't you?
Brand champion.
Brand champion. And congratulations on that again. And that's how I met you.
Yes.
Was because you didn't know this award was real and you were wondering who Jonathan Sackett was, if I remember correctly. Well, now you know, and now we're making you be on the show.
Okay,
so
that's great.
We're so happy to have you guys here, and congratulations on all your success. If you wouldn't mind, Cathy, you know, a lot of people that view the show are from outside of the region and may or may not know DeBrand's chocolates. So would you mind giving just an overview of how you got here, how this all came about, what's the measurement of success, how you did it?
Well, I started in 1987, and I grew up
at the age of 2.
Exactly.
I'm learning. I know you know.
And I grew up in a family business where they did cake decorating and candy making supplies and classes and wedding supplies. So as a very young child, not only was I exposed to a small family business, but I had all these confectionery ingredients at my fingertips, so I could make things, play around with things, whether it was even trinkety things or whether it was culinary things. I did candies and cakes and various things, wedding cakes when I was in high school. But I always really loved the chocolate more than anything, the chocolate aspect of the culinary arts. So I always thought I kind of wanted to open my own chocolate shop when I grew up, and I did.
And so as you were going through, so you know, two things stand out because I remember when we first did a video with you, you were talking about how you were surprised that people would let a kid do their wedding cake.
Yeah.
And that it didn't even occur to me when you said it.
Yeah.
But so how many times did you do that?
It was only one summer in high school, and I think I did maybe 4 throughout the summer.
Wow.
So it wasn't a big thing, and it's like, I don't want to do that for a living. I knew that right then.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, you also did jewelry though.
Well, when I was like in 3rd grade.
Oh, well that doesn't. Okay.
I
well,
just
that
took little ribbons and trinkets and glued them together and figured out a way to fasten them and sold them to my little friends at school.
Okay.
Yeah.
She always liked making stuff and selling it.
Yeah.
Well,
creating
I
things.
mean, obviously it's working. When your family, I don't know how much success they had with doing this, but obviously you started at a very young age doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Did you always foresee it was going to become what it became, or no?
I had no idea.
Really?
And it was a totally different kind of business. And as much as I loved their business and being a part of it as a child, I didn't really want to do that. I didn't really want to sell supplies and teach people how to do things. I wanted to just create a brand and our own products. And yeah, I had no idea. I remember just saying, I'll just try this and see.
Well, who would you say that you aspired to be? Like, who did somebody influence you to, you can't, I always feel like you can't get success unless you see success.
Well, any big chocolate brand or any decent sized chocolate brand that was out there was really like, okay, that brand can do it.
I can do it too.
Maybe.
Wow.
I wasn't like real confident. I didn't know. I just knew I wanted to do the best I could do and see how it turned out.
What do you think the biggest hurdle was? And there's a specific reason I asked that, because I found in doing this show, I don't know, we've done maybe 25, something like that, 24 shows. As we've done these shows, it's funny when I ask people what the obstacles are, oftentimes it's people.
That's number one.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's finding the right people, first of all, and then the right positions for the people that you have. And that's been the most difficult. We've got an amazing group of people. But, yeah, you have to kiss a lot of frogs before you find a prince.
It takes time. I mean,
Yeah.
even when I came in here, I did not have this team.
Yeah.
And these guys, as you've met, they're wonderful.
Yeah.
And we've accomplished a heck of a lot with a small, young team, and that's not easy to do because I wonder if you have this challenge. It's difficult for me because they're trying to extract what's in my head. And I've got a vision, this whole pioneer thing and everything, but trying to get it socialized so that everybody here believes in it.
Yeah.
Callie was our first intern. I think you knew that. She was our first intern, and I literally hunted her down to hire her.
I've hunted people down, too.
Yeah.
I know what you mean.
And I'll tell you something. I feel like once you never sell an idea, always socialize it. And once I socialized the ideas, and she was on the very first shoots we did and everything, and I can't say enough about her, but I felt like she was buying into it along the process.
That's exactly right. If you're excited, you're going to get people around you excited. If you're just blasé, how do you expect them to care? So, yeah, just be excited and they're on board. And if they're the right match, it's fabulous. But when I say people, it's not just employees, it's vendors, it's anybody you deal with. You have to find the right supplier for everything,
Yeah.
people that will follow through with what they said they're going to do.
Yeah, I hear that twice.
That's definitely tough. Going back to kind of starting out and building the business and figuring it out, kind of a question I almost wanted to direct over to you, Audrey. I had my mom. I kind of forgot all about this until we started talking about what do we want to talk about on the show with the DeBrand ladies, and I was like, oh, wait, I remember when I was younger, my mom was a manager, like a store manager of a Cold Stone Creamery location. And I would always love the days that we had to go to work with Mom, because we would just be like, here's some ice cream, here, have a brownie, just so that we would behave.
There's got to be an incentive somewhere.
Yeah, exactly. We behave and go play on the playground down the road. But I wondered if there was any part of you that was like, oh, I really loved growing up with a mom who had her own business and kind of the perks of that, or if you kind of felt almost like I want to go do my own thing. I don't want to stay here and be a part of the family business. I kind of need to make a name for myself, or how you felt about those things.
Yeah, growing up, it was fun because, like you said, you're not going to be mad about going to work with your mom when it's a chocolate shop and there's ice cream and everything, every kid's dream. So as a kid, I loved it. And then I wasn't 100% sure that I wanted to go into it. I always loved it. I worked there in high school and, all throughout my life pretty much. But I wasn't 100% sure just because I didn't know what else was out there. So I still wanted to go away. I lived in New York for a few years. I went to college. But I was taking some business classes in college, and I would be learning concepts, and I would get on the phone later that night and call my mom and be like, hey, I learned about this. I was thinking about DeBrand, and, just tying back concepts. And the fact that I was still excited about it and thinking about it and tying it to all the things I was learning, it was a good indicator that it was something I was interested in. And I love it, obviously, and working with my mom is a ton of fun. But I never knew like from birth, basically, that I was like, yes, so this is going to be my legacy. But yeah, over the years, it's definitely become more and more looking like it's going down that path. You know, I love it. And now my daughter comes to DeBrand every day after school. So she's kind of in that same, she comes with my two nieces.
We saw the playroom.
Yeah, there's a playroom upstairs and everything. But
she had a hard time getting me out of there.
I was like, yay. No, so, and my daughter and my nieces, they just love coming there every single day. And it's kind of annoying because every day they're like, can I have ice cream? Can I have chocolate? And we're like, gosh, can you calm down? But she's like, well, what do you expect? You know, they're like, you can't be mad if they're
That's what it's like to work with Bryce for us. So,
So you go off to New York, go to school, do your own thing for a little while. Was there ever a specific point in time where you decided, like, I need to go back home and go work for my mom again?
Mm-hmm. I don't think there was ever like a one moment of knowing that. It was more just little things along the way. And I am a homebody, and I just love Fort Wayne. I love home. I love my family, my friends. So I was always a little homesick being away, but I was glad that I went because then I could really appreciate it more, you know, on a deeper level than I even knew. So I wouldn't say there was one turning point, but just along the way, the more I was gone, even the more I was like, I kind of want to be home and be in my family's business and with my family and all that kind of stuff.
did you have to ask?
You're like, will you take me back?
Yeah, I feel like you're asking for more porridge at the children's thing.
She'd come back at Christmas time and work. She'd come back in the summers and work.
Okay.
Yeah, I was always plugged in still. You know, I'd come home for Christmas break, and so I was always still working and staying involved and stuff. But no, I started then after I came back home and graduated. I started in the office work as now like a full-time in the position that I was starting in was marketing and public relations and things like that, and then just kept growing into more things and more responsibilities.
As time goes by and your responsibilities increase and stuff, how do you ask your mother for more money?
Asking for a friend.
I just in case I have to join my father at Dick Sackett's. No, that's seriously my dad's name. But you know, it's funny because I learned a lot, and I learned what not. I learned a lot, and I learned what to unlearn when working with my dad in summers. My dad was an HVAC guy, so heating and air conditioning, that type of stuff. And I don't know what type of person I strike you as being, but I'm not an HVAC guy. So this one day, he had me in there making S-slips and drives. And if you make S-slips and drives, what those are the pieces of metal that you bend to hold your ductwork together. Okay, there. Everybody learned something today. And I did it all wrong. And I made a pile of thousands of these things all day. And my dad came back to the shop, and he looked at me, and he looked at the floor, and he measured them, and he said, they're all the wrong size. Every single one of them. Measure twice, cut once. And that always stuck with me.
Yeah.
So particularly when it comes to marketing and advertising, believe it or not, I'm just not a nutty guy who comes up with weird stuff. It has to be creativity with accountability. So that's what it taught me. Is there anything in particular that you feel like you've learned or had to unlearn from your mom?
Ooh. Cover your ears. No,
and that's when the interview went south.
Yeah, anyways. No. Ooh, things that I've learned, pretty much everything. Things that I've unlearned. Honestly, thankfully, all of her mistakes that she had to walk through and learn on her own, she was able to pass on to me just by, her experience. Thankfully, then she can teach me basically what not to do. So I don't know if there's anything that she's done that I'm like, ooh, I'm unlearning that, not doing that. But she's always been just a great mentor and just has taught me so much about things that she's gone through that she would maybe do differently and situations maybe she would handle differently now, which has been so helpful to learn from. So then she can make the mistakes and I can be perfect.
There you go.
Well, it's working great.
Wow. Spoken like the daughter of an entrepreneur. Perfect.
And then on the other side, Cathy.
Yes.
Is there anything that sticks out to you that you feel like you've learned from your working with your daughter? Because obviously, people are like, if they're older, they're wiser, but people have different life experiences regardless, and you can always learn from somebody else. So is there anything you feel like you've learned from Audree?
Oh, I'm sure there are many things because she is really good at her job. I mean, when she said started out in marketing and public relations, yes. but it grew so much. She's like the business operations manager now. So she is in charge of really everything in the company except the production end of it. And we've got somebody else, and that's a huge job too. Somebody who does that end of it, but she's in charge of the stores and the shipping and the accounting, the marketing, all of that. So it's been really fun to watch her grow and to help her along the way. And yeah, there are times when I've heard her addressing something with an employee, and it's like, oh, I like how she said that. I'm going to take
stealing
that.
Yeah.
She's a tough cookie. I've worked with her once. But I mean, I think that's, there's got to be a yin to the yang in any organization. That's the way it works. I believe it or not, I wouldn't be held accountable to be the level-headed one at NEI. I know it's hard to believe.
Yeah.
But I think, but with these guys, you can tell there's a dynamic in a team, and unless you build that dynamic, you'll never have a team. There's got to be the crazy, there's got to be the accountable, there's got to be those things. So would you guys, I don't know if you've got the numbers off the top of your head or something, but I know recently you guys struck a deal with Meijer. And amongst other things, do you know what the total reach of the product is? Because, I mean, you've got people, I know it's shipping chocolate, so it's not that easy. Do you have any idea on the numbers, how much you've grown? Did COVID take you guys down? It didn't seem to take you down as much as a lot of companies.
Well, it slowed things down, but our shipping department was busier than ever.
Yeah.
And our walk-in not as busy, but it's just balanced out. And as far as where we sell our product, I mean, through our retail website, we ship product all across the country, and we can to other countries, but it doesn't happen often because it's very expensive to do.
Yeah.
And then our wholesale division, the same. We ship to shops really all across the country, different kinds of stores like floral shops, gourmet shops, different kinds of stores like that. And you mentioned Meijer.
Yeah.
And I think we're in 14 different Meijer stores now.
Wow.
That was a really nice addition.
Good for you.
Yeah,
Congratulations.
we appreciate
I love the personalized packaging that you guys do. And I'll tell you something that we found out. We give those out, as you know, a lot. And when we don't give those out to people we've given them out to before, they're actually mad.
Yay, good.
So you are responsible for making people mad at NEI.
Well, we'll always give them out. No one will be mad.
I'm using half my budget on DeBrand's chocolates. But I think, as you're talking about, growth, and you're talking about peak and ebb and flow of work and things like that, I was wondering if you have an opinion, both of you guys, if you have an opinion on what's harder. Is it more difficult to get to where you guys are at now, or is it more difficult to defend where you're at now? Does that make sense? Because obviously when you're up and coming, I find that companies as well as the people that are employed there, they have this kumbaya and this strive to get there. Once you've reached a certain level, it seems like it's more difficult to defend that.
I see what you're saying. Well, it was definitely more work to get here. I used to work a lot more than I have to now.
Yeah.
But I'm very thankful that we are a brand that's stayed strong, because I've seen so many businesses since we started that start out really hot and then they're gone.
Well, particularly in food categories.
Exactly.
So,
And I think one thing that's nice about our product, not only it's a product that people can come in and enjoy themselves, but it's mainly a gift product. People buy chocolates for gifts, and it's really hard, I think, to think of a great present for somebody who has everything. Or, I mean, this works for somebody who's elderly, for somebody who's a child, everyone in between, somebody that doesn't have a lot, somebody who's very wealthy, for one person or for a whole office full of people or a whole family to share. So it's just the kind of gift, and it's luxury. It's an affordable luxury. Not everybody can afford the most expensive luxury car or vacation or whatever, but pretty much everyone can afford luxury chocolates.
Yeah.
So it makes a statement when you give a gift like that.
Well, I mean, I think, first of all, coming from me and my team, I think you guys did an excellent job of establishing the brand, no doubt about it. The challenge, I'm wondering what your perspective is on the challenge of what's next. What's the next frontier?
Well, I would say the main thing we're growing in now is wholesale.
Really?
And so to just keep that, because there are endless possibilities in that direction. And we do have a partnership store in Indianapolis where we have owner operators. They own minority amount of ownership, but they own 49%. And they do a great job. So, I mean, if that opportunity comes up, we could grow in that way. And I think that balances the wholesale business in Indianapolis, too.
Yeah.
They help each other. So,
Well, again, not being that familiar with you guys when I first came here, when we came and we took the tour at DeBrand's, and I had the peanut butter ice cream sundae thing that was the best I've ever had, and I'm not saying that because you're on the show either. But I was curious. The way my thinking goes, as soon as I saw that, I thought, I wonder if these guys are going to ever hit the frozen aisle.
that's doubtful because that's a side thing. Our ice cream, our sundae. It's basically, we do make our own ice cream in-house, but, our toppings are like, the chocolate topping is like melted truffle center. The raspberry is like the juice in the raspberry cream. The caramel is
That I have
in
to buy
our
for our
chocolates.
CFO every 5 minutes.
Yeah, so I mean, it's like a little add-on extra just for really the Fort Wayne community as well as Indianapolis. But that's not going to be a big growth thing. That would be more the chocolates.
As you think back through this process of, you've been doing this now, how many years? 5?
Yeah, something like that.
As you think through that process to get you guys where you've become, is there anything that you wish you would have done differently or that you regret you didn't do? Is there anything that comes to mind like that? Because obviously there were opportunities that you went past or anything like that.
There were mistakes made, but that's okay. That's how you learn. That's how you know, okay, we're not doing that again. So there are a lot of things, if I would go back and say, oh, we shouldn't have done that, there would be plenty. But we're still here, and we learn from them.
Yeah.
And better from them, probably. So, I don't know.
But there's no regrets. You think you guys pretty much stayed the course?
Yeah. I mean, we've done stupid things.
Can you think of a stupid thing?
Oh, lots of dumb things. I mean, with products. I mean, there was this one thing that was so good. We brought it out. No one hardly bought it. So, okay, make it again, call it a different name, put it in a different shape. No one bought it. She's like, bring it out.
This product, I like it.
I'm
It was like
gonna make this work.
berry, cherry, nuts and such was one of the name. Fruit and nut affair. It's the same thing in a different shape.
Okay.
I mean, we tried like these different vegetable chips dipped in chocolate. Lots of things that didn't work out, but that's okay. Everything doesn't have to work.
No.
If you're thinking everything's going to work, you're never going to do everything. You're never going to do anything because you have to try things.
Yeah.
And
Right.
100% is not going to work, and it doesn't need to. You
Right.
just need to
How-
find the things that do.
How would you say that, like, different products come about? You've got so many items, even just here in front of us. I know you have more than this. How do you
Yeah.
come
Why
up
didn't you
with?
bring everything?
Your
Jonathan's-
table's only that size.
Jonathan came hungry today, so that's on him.
Oh, forget it.
Yeah, how do you come up with ideas for flavors and products and stuff like
That's
that?
the fun part, creating. That's just so much fun. I don't know, come up with any way. I mean, maybe it could be any kind of inspiration. It could be something at a restaurant. I mean, like the raspberry balsamic was okay, I want something a little more savory. Or, the shape of one of the pieces, it looks like kind of like a mirror that I saw that I thought was cool. It could be anytime, anywhere.
Can you not unsee it if you're trying a competitor's chocolate or if you see an idea? Is your brain constantly ticking on DeBrand?
Yeah.
Same with mine.
Yeah, all the time.
Except not on DeBrand, but yes. What? Well, I mean...
Yeah, but, I mean, starting a business and growing it is a lot of work. And, like, the busiest time was when I had little children and it was still a new business and just, like, crazy busy all the time. And then trying to grow this business. And a lot of people say you need, like, a work-life balance. Mm-hmm. And I've never had that. What I've had is what I call a work-life blend. Because, when I'm somewhere doing something with the kids, it's like I'm thinking about this at the same time. Or when I'm at work, I'm like, oh, I got to go pick up the kids, or I'm thinking about something with them. So it all blends together. But yeah, DeBrand is always there. I'm always thinking of stuff. What do I want to do? And if I go on vacation, that's a good time because my mind is more clear and I can think more creatively.
Hi, everyone. We want to take a quick moment to shout out our podcast sponsors. Now, first, you might be wondering who I am, so let me introduce myself. I am Hannah Hannigan, and normally I'm behind the camera as the videographer, but today I wanted to be in front of the camera to shout out the people who made this podcast possible. Barrett McNagny and Sweetwater Sound are the two sponsors of our podcast, and they're both located in Northeast Indiana. If you don't already know who they are, let me introduce them to you. We're going to start with Barrett McNagny. As Fort Wayne has grown, the Barrett Law Firm has grown with it. Founded in 1876, Barrett McNagny is one of the oldest law partnerships in Indiana, and it's among one of the largest just in Northeast Indiana. They have the breadth of experience across a wide range of practice areas to provide you trusted legal counsel where and when you need it. And Sweetwater is actually the one we were able to purchase most of our audio and video gear from to make this podcast. So if you like how this podcast sounds or how it looks, be sure to check them out. Sweetwater, the nation's largest, and I would also add friendliest destination for music gear, is also your one-stop shop for all things podcasting. From audio interfaces, recording software, mixers, microphones, cameras, and lighting, Sweetwater has everything to get your podcast up and running. Enjoy personalized gear advice from their dedicated team of sales engineers, as well as free technical support to get your podcast connected and up and running. Really, what's not to love about that? So whether you already have a following or you're still chasing the next big thing, Sweetwater is going to be the ones to help you create a podcast that everyone will be talking about. So if you're interested in either of these companies, be sure to check out the links in our description. Now, let's get back to the podcast.
This is a family affair.
Yes.
You have 3 daughters that work with you at DeBrand. And I don't know your other 2 daughters yet, but I'm going to.
Okay.
So if you'd like to give a shout out to them. And I'd like to talk about what they do with you at DeBrand as well.
Our oldest is Nikki, and she has some disabilities. She doesn't hear very well and some things like that. So she was substitute teaching, and during COVID, she couldn't hear the kids. So I was trying to think, well, what could she do? So I came up with a position for her. So she researches to find different potential wholesale customers, and then she reaches out to them via email. So that's her job, is to bring in new wholesale business.
Okay.
And that's perfect for her because she's very organized, and she just enjoys that. And then Jasmine is the middle daughter, and she's more like creative, good with her hands, always good in the kitchen. You know, she can pick up something quicker than anyone I've ever worked with, like with her hands, like how to decorate a chocolate. She can just do it. And even like on making up new flavors or whatever, I can tell her, okay, put a little this and that, and then she'll go back and taste it and figure it out and say, I added a little this. I'm like, oh, I like that. So
Wow.
she's really good at that. And then Audree is more business minded. You know, she really can multitask, run a lot of things, make smart decisions, really good with people, and excellent with that. So yes, it's truly, truly a family business. And a year after I started it, I got married, and my husband's been working with me too.
That
which was
was
nice.
the next thing I was going to bring up, because I see him around there too.
Yeah, so it's truly a family business, and I really like it.
So is there anything within that family dynamic as you guys are working together, obviously for a common cause? Is there anything that you've learned from your other daughters as well? So, you know, everybody has a different work ethic, a different way of working. You know, is there anything that you've taken from them since they've joined you?
Oh, I'm sure there have been things. But yeah, it's just really enjoyable because they don't work together really much because they're doing completely different things. But I spend a lot of one-on-one time with each one of them doing their own thing. So it's really nice. I mean, I get to spend more time with my daughters than if they didn't work there. And it's collaborating and working together is more fun than just small talk to me.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah, that's very true. Do you have any advice for anyone who is starting a family business or is in a family business now? Because it seems like you have a lot of experience with family businesses, from your parents to now you, and now having some grandkids around and things like that. Any advice you would give somebody else?
Have your family in who you like. You gotta like them.
Oh,
no, I don't know.
Well, there goes that.
I don't know. I think it wasn't like a big plan to do this. So it's not like I have this plan figured out to tell people. It just kind of all fell into place. You know, oh, I want to do this chocolate thing. I'm going to try it and see how it works out. And, oh, yeah, husband, why don't you do this with me? We can hang out. And then, okay, kids, come and eat some chocolate while you're here. And then, oh, you're going to work here? Great. It just, I don't know that I have specific advice. I feel fortunate that it just worked out that way for me.
See, I just think you're humble. Because if, at some point you had to put together the business plan and a trajectory to say this is how this works and such.
Mm-hmm. But I didn't know my kids would be a part of it or anything.
Yeah. And did you think, as you look back now in that beautiful building that you guys are in, did you guys have that built, by the way? Or was that you did?
We had it built. And my husband loves that kind of thing. And he was there every day
you're
during,
really lucky then.
yeah, during the whole construction process.
And as you look at that, are you able to stop, take a breath, and say, "Yeah, I did it," or do you feel like you haven't done it yet?
I don't know. We're just kind of doing it.
See, it's like you're winner by default, not by design. The way it is.
Just give it a try.
Yeah, because that's one of the things, a piece of advice that you gave on another video when we talk about people coming up behind you and such. And it seems to me culturally that we're starting to get into this risk aversion, just culturally. And I don't know why that is. I just went over to Huntington University where Hannah and Callie graduated from, and they had me give mock interviews to the seniors. And I don't know if I'm the right guy, that I should be the first one you should be meeting coming out of school. I should be somewhere down the road, maybe.
Hey, if
Rate them
I
in.
had that experience, these guys need to
Everybody
too.
else needs to have it too.
Yep.
But I think we've got a really good partnership just because she's the type of person, she's not afraid of me. She's not afraid to come up with ideas. And she's also not afraid, as I'm seeing a lot of these people coming out of school being. When I said, ask me a question, in the mock interviews, ask me something. And they were afraid to ask me anything. And you can't, that's the piece of advice that I always give is be fearless. Because at the end of the day, life is short. And you're going to look back on this and go, I either did it or I wish I wouldn't have been so afraid that I couldn't do it. And
Right.
fear is crippling.
Exactly.
That's the way I've always
And
thought.
that's why do it when you're young.
Yeah.
Because you get more concerned about things or you know more what the roadblocks are the older you get. So just do it when you're young, when you don't have all these fears.
That's true.
Yeah.
And kind of along those same lines too, when you're starting out a business and things like that, it might be easy to, especially product based, like, okay, I have two options for like ingredients, for instance, if we're talking about chocolate. I could get this like more expensive, high quality one and it'll take more money for me to put into it and I'll have to sell it for more, or I can get this cheaper one and I can have like higher profit margins or something like that. And I'm sure that's something you guys have had to wrestle with, but in your Pioneer video, I'm going to read a direct quote from you because it's a good one. We asked you about something and you said that you don't even try to compete on price with other companies because then you'd have to skimp on ingredients or the beauty of the product. So obviously those things are very important to you. And has it always been that way? Is that just something that's like key to your personality? Like you really
Yeah, I mean, you can't be the cheapest and the best. You have to choose which lane you're going to go down. And I don't want to straddle those lanes either. So it's always, right? You see it. You're a part of it.
Yeah, I think that's evident too when you walk into the locations or if you see the packaging and stuff like that, that you can tell this is it's almost an experience, like walking into the store and in the way that you're treated by the people checking you out or people helping you out, the way that the storefront looks. I feel that they're very stylish and they have a very particular look. Is that also something that came from you and how you wanted to decorate the stores almost and think?
Like I said, as far as our building, it was my husband who was really there all the time making the exterior look like it is, and together we worked on the interior. And then Audrey and I recently did some, just some refurbishing and redesigning the look. And yeah, we care about every little detail. I mean, the customer service and like you said, the experience when you're in there. I mean, we really try to talk to employees about, anything they can do to make it a great experience. If we make a mistake, we want them to more than make it right. Don't just give them what they came in for. Fix it and give them more. So yeah, and that's what she's working really hard at all the time. She works directly with the managers and everybody to make it that great experience. She's been doing great with that.
We'll say a personal experience I had with DeBrand You can use me as a case study if you'd like
Okay.
right now. I'm just kidding. It was very early on in my time here, and this is like my first actual job out of college. So he says that I'm not afraid of a lot of things, but I think I probably...
She hides it well.
I probably am afraid of a lot of things. So very early on, the chocolates that we have that have like the NEI branding on them, we had like run out, and it was like one of the first things that he had asked me to do is like, can you place another order for our chocolates? And I'm like, I think so. Like, I think I can do that. And so I successfully placed the order, and I had to go pick it up one day. And this was before we had any conversations with you guys or anything. And I had never been to the location or anything. I just walked in, and I was like, I think I'm here to pick up some chocolates. I don't know what I'm supposed to do. And they were so helpful. And they were like, oh, of course, what's the name? And they figured it all out for me. And they're very kind in there. And that gave me a boost of confidence to say, okay, I can do hard things. I can pick up the chocolate.
And unfortunately, there was this mean person named Audrey who was looking around the corner like this.
They're peeking around and saying, who is this girl?
Audrey, is there any advice that you would give to people who are up and coming, people who are coming out of school now, for example, and they're saying they think they know what they want to get into? What advice would you give somebody who's up and coming?
That's a good question. I would say to try something that you enjoy, and a big thing is, like we talked about, don't let fear stop you, because I think you're right. Something about our generation, we have this like intense fear and anxiety that
Anxiety
I feel like,
is the word. It's a better
anxiety,
word.
like it's really prevalent in our generation. So I feel like that's just, it stops so many people and it freezes so many people. So just try things and get involved in things. And if you don't like it or you fail, like that's okay. Like jump into something else. So yeah, I would just say try to just let the fear subside and just try new things and figure it out along the way.
You know, I'm going to give you a compliment now.
Okay, finally.
So get ready.
Permission to
I've been
compliment.
waiting. I think, when I came over by you guys to do the drone footage, I saw Audrey in action. And I'm going to phrase this as a question ultimately. But when I saw you, what you were able to do was snap from, okay, yeah, this is fun. This is business. Now we got to do this. Here's the direction. What do you think of this? And it just, your face turned. And I could just see the focus on you, and I thought that was really impressive, and especially for a young person. I thought, well, and Cathy and you and I were talking about her behind her back. But I mean, I saw that in you, that you could be this welcoming, dynamic presence. But man, as soon as it came down to focus and what you wanted to see, you said it. And I'm wondering where that comes from.
Probably from her.
I mean, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah,
I saw
yeah.
you switch gears quick.
We've always talked about that, about working really hard but having fun while you're doing it. It should be fun, and you should be passionate about what you're doing. Otherwise, like who else is going to be having fun or being passionate if you're not? So I feel like that's,
and it is fun.
it is fun. Yeah. Thankfully, we do have a fun job. Like, we know what I mean? Some people, that's tough. But
You guys aren't making S-slips and drives, I can tell you that.
that's tough. So yeah, it's fun, and the creative process is so fun. So it's like, just embrace that and have fun. But of course, like, be serious about it and get the job done, because there is work that goes into it. Even something that seems as fun as making and selling chocolates, there's a lot of problems and a lot of work and a lot of things that need to be figured out. And but having fun along the way that's big.
And I know what you're saying. I see that in her. And also about fear, when she first came back from college, she was nervous about every aspect of her job.
Yeah.
Where it's like, I know you can do this. And then she did it. And then now I think about the things she was afraid of when she first came back. Those are like little side nothing things to her. Now she's got this big umbrella of all these things. And these things that at the time she thought were so big. And now they're little side nothings, right?
That's true. It's like what you said. Like picking up a chocolate order now, you're like, that's nothing.
Like,
whatever.
easy, I'll do
but like
that.
in the beginning, everything's scary, and we feel like we can't do that. Like the first time I had to like do payroll I'm like, I can't do that. I don't want to mess with anybody's money. Like I don't even want to do that. I don't even want to try it. Like, but then you do it and you're like, oh, I can do that, you know, I can do it, you know. It's just doing it, pushing yourself and doing it. You realize you're capable of so much more. And I think so many times we don't even want to try because we don't want to fail. And that was me. And a lot of it was her pushing me too. And like, you can do this. You got it. Just do it.
And even like if you have to have a conversation with an employee that maybe isn't the most pleasant, you're having to like reprimand somebody or whatever. Like at first she was like, no, I'm not going to say anything to them. And now I've heard her talk to people, and she does it so easily and in a kind way. And what I tell everybody in our business who's getting into being an assistant manager, it's a lot of younger people, and I tell them, there's no reason you should be worried about it if you know what you're saying is correct. And if you do it, you know, with these certain things, you have to be kind, confident, and logical. And then I added, be clear about what you're saying too. But if you're sure you're doing all those things, there's no reason they shouldn't, you know, they shouldn't be upset about it. And if they are, it's their problem. But if you leave any one of those things out, there's room for a big problem. If you're kind and confident, but there's no logic in what you're saying, you know, it's not going to make sense. Or if you're kind and logical, but you're, would you mind doing it differently? They will not respect you. Or if you do it without kindness, then that's all they're going to think about is how rude you were.
Yeah.
So do all those things. And she does that really well. And yeah, at first it was a big deal. But
especially
now
when
I'm
it's people like twice your age that you're having to, you know, like that's intimidating in the beginning, but you have to just get over that and be like, that doesn't matter. You know,
Hi,
we're
I
just
know
here.
I'm just a kid.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I was that way too.
Along those same lines, though, since there's like all those things you were a little bit afraid to do in the beginning, do you feel like working for your mom and it's a family business and it's not some Jonathan Sackett that's telling you what to do? Do you
Terrifying boss.
Yeah. No terrifying bosses, just
I'm
your
just
mom.
going to leave the show now. Thank you, everybody.
Did you feel like there was more or less pressure or like your fear of failure? Do you think that you were like, oh, it's just my mom. If I mess something up, it won't be such a big deal? Or it's like, man, this is my mom's business. If I mess something up, like, this is really bad.
Yes.
Yeah, how personal do you take it, I guess?
Yeah.
I would say it's a little bit of both. Like there is just this sense of like reverence, like this is, I want to make her proud. I don't want to make, like it's like personal, you know, but there's also like, well, she has to forgive me. She's my mom. Not quite on that level.
That's how you make it work both ways.
Yeah, and that's a blend. No, but yeah, there is a little bit of both, I would say. But I know, yeah, I can talk with her differently than I would if it was a boss, you know, that had no relationship outside, you know. So I can be a little more like, ugh, like, you know, whereas like if it was my actual yeah, I'd be a little more pleased with my approach. So I would say it's a blend. That's a good question. I've never really thought of it, but I think thinking through it now, it is a little bit of a blend. There's a little more pressure, but also it's a little bit less as well.
Yeah.
You know?
That makes sense.
Yeah.
I hope you guys realize that you guys have created a cultural phenomenon here in Fort Wayne. And you have, because it was one of the first things I had to eat here. Because people came up to me and they said, oh, we're partners with this DeBrand thing. I tried it. I was like, yeah, this could take on Godiva. Because I wasn't expecting that. I was expecting a waxy Hershey bar or something. And if anybody from Hershey comes on the show,
Hershey.
I apologize. But I did work with them in the past, so I think they'll forgive me. But I'm just saying, I think what you guys have done is you've personified chocolate. And that's the way I see it. And I think that's the way a lot of people see it, particularly when we're giving away those chocolate bars to the site selectors and the government people that come through and such. It's a cultural icon. And I think that's huge. So congratulations for that.
Well, thank you.
I would 100% agree. I also I was not born and raised here. And
From Florida.
I thought it was also one of the first things that people were talking about when I started getting into the area. And I assumed that it was like, there's plenty of things that are just not in the South that are in the Midwest or over on other ends of the country. So I just assumed it was like a Midwest thing. Like it's like all over the Midwest. And then when I started getting into this job and we're learning more about you guys, like, oh, it's literally just Cathy and her family. And she's got some shops that are doing really well. But I was like, this must be a really big deal. And it is a big deal.
It is.
But
I think it's huge. So I'm so happy to be working with you guys in any capacity.
Thank you. Thank you. And we love and appreciate Fort Wayne and all of our customers that come in and take pride in it. We love that.
Because you're so involved on the inside of this, do you feel like it's a cultural phenomenon? Like people know, like DeBrand's is bigger than chocolate. It just is here. Do you feel that?
Do we feel that?
I feel like maybe you're right, we're too close to it, but then
Yeah.
it's when we hear people telling us things like that, it's really exciting and encouraging to hear, and you hear people come in and like I get to be in the shop a lot and just hear stories of what people have used a brand for special things like proposals or exciting events or even sad things in their lives.
Yeah.
And it's really touching because it's like, oh, we get to be a part of that in people's lives. And
Yes.
they, it just feels like we have this relationship with these people in Fort Wayne who have done it for all these years. So yeah, hearing the stories of people is so touching, and it makes us feel more inspired and excited to be doing what we're doing.
That's the best part of it.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I think, you guys know my mom's been sick. And I'll tell you something. So driving to Green Bay almost every weekend is taxing. But if I don't show up with DeBrand, she's looking for it. So, and I'm not even kidding. So, by the way, the peanut butter truffle is her favorite.
Oh, sweet.
So if they're in there, I'm stealing that one.
Yes.
Rapid wrap-up questions. I think we're going to do these at both of you guys simultaneously,
Yes.
right? Yep.
Okay. So we just blurt it out together.
Just blurt it out.
Blurt it out. Okay. I wrote these, so if you hate them and they're too funny, that's on me. Okay? This first one is a very serious question. How many approximately average pieces of chocolate do you eat every single day?
3.
27.
This is rapid fire.
Yeah, that's right.
4. I've already had 3 today. And what time is it?
Yeah, we still got more of the
So
day.
it's not 3 because I'm still going back.
All right.
Okay. Do you prefer like a DeBrand truffle or an ice cream sundae?
Truffle.
Even because a Sunday, you got to be committed to a
You
lot.
got to be ready for that.
Milk or dark chocolate?
Equal opportunity chocolate
It
eater.
depends. Like we're both. Like it depends on the center you pair it with
Yeah.
and what's going on. We love them both.
Okay,
Yes.
okay. We love them both. What is your favorite holiday tradition in Northeast Indiana?
I would say Christmas, like getting through the holidays at DeBrand. I mean, that's we're so busy that we don't really do anything outside.
Making it
We
through.
don't really have a life.
Getting all the
Especially
orders
at
out.
These
holidays.
poor
Yeah.
ladies from DeBrand's
Yeah,
Chocolates.
I mean, like-
we're just here to take pity on you.
What are we going to do at Christmas time or Valentine's?
We're packing orders.
Yeah, we're in there.
How early in the year do you guys have to start preparing for the holiday season as your busiest season?
Yeah, we start early. And all of our different products have different kinds of shelf life. And so we just have to we've got a really good operations manager who runs the kitchen, and he just has to schedule it all accordingly. But yeah, I mean, we can't be making much in December because everybody that works there is either shipping out boxes or waiting on customers.
And we have a really good team of seasonal people who can come help
Yes.
us get
Oh,
through a
that's
busy
nice.
season.
Yeah.
We have extra
Thank
people
God.
who can
Yeah.
come jump in and help.
Because probably 30-ish% of our business is in December.
Oh, wow.
crazy.
Yeah.
Favorite part of your job? So you've got maybe coming up with some chocolate ideas, maybe doing some customer relations thing.
For
doing
me,
some
creating.
business.
Creating a
Creating.
product, creating packaging, something new, creating a division in the company. That's my favorite.
Mine would be just probably working with the customers and helping people with like weddings and events and things that are coming up, big things and big orders and things like that.
The only one that I wanted to add to this is do you guys have a favorite restaurant in town, anything besides James Caan's restaurants?
Those are the worst. I'm kidding. They're fabulous.
You know why I'm throwing that out. Okay.
Yeah. He picked the Coney dogs.
Do you? Yes. And every time I see him, I give him this look. Do you guys
It's
have
all
a
right.
favorite restaurant in town, though?
Oh, several. I love Catabaloo. I love Nawa. I love Ziano's. I mean, I could go on and
Mercado.
on. Yes.
Yeah.
There's so many good restaurants here.
Yeah.
Oh, gotta love a Cheeto. They're in our old Coldwater building.
Oh, okay. Congratulations on all your success. I have to tell you, Cathy, ever since that first conversation where you thought I was a sales guy trying to sell you something,
You'll never let me forget it.
I will never let you forget because I could hear this. on the eye roll on the other end of the phone. But you guys, just congratulations on all your success. I was so happy to get you guys scheduled to be on the show because I love working with you guys, and I think I speak for the whole NEI team when I say we love your products.
Thank you.
Just excellent
Thank
job.
you so much.
And we count on it. Because, like I said, people get mad at us if we don't give it out. So there's 2 huge bags of NEI branded DeBrand's chocolates in my office at any
Which
given
makes him a
time.
popular guy in the office.
Which is the only thing that makes me a popular guy in the office. I might add.
Keeper of the chocolate.
So again, thanks everybody for joining us. Thanks to the ladies from DeBrand. Just really good people, really good products. Please check them out. And remember, you can find the NEI Pioneer Podcast at Apple Podcast, at Spotify, and of course at pioneerstartshere.com or YouTube. Please join us. Please like, share, tell people about it. And don't hesitate to tell us who you would like to see on the show. Thanks again, everybody. And thanks to the ladies from DeBrand.
Thank you.